So what happens after Kundalini awakening? Well, I'm going to explain this to you in several ways. Because, first of all, you have to embrace Shakti. To embrace Shakti, you have to have gone through all the things that have to have been cleared in my chakra video. Go watch my chakra video for that. And so once we've cleared these things and we've risen Shakti, if we don't clear these things, all you will do is go into a spiritual ego trap. This is where many people lie. People call themselves many things, but because they have not cleared fear, desire, ego, they're just blind in spiritual ego. But that's the path. So when we fully embrace Shakti, and we've combined that with Shiva and consciousness, we get to the stage that we can choose. And we can let this fade into the background and go back to the way things were. Not quite, but similarly. Or we can choose to embrace Shakti fully. Have it fully embodied. And again, this is where some people make the mistake where they learn how to become energy healers, and then they just use this for financial gain for energy healing. But this is about becoming a Tantrika. This is about embracing the Tao and living with the Tao. This is about becoming what would be translated as a true Lightworker, or better translation would be Skywalker. Yes, that name might ring a bell. This comes, as I said, when Shakti rises, when connected to Shiva. You have experiences far beyond anything you can get from any plant medicine experience, far greater than any plant medicine experience. You gain insight, you gain knowledge. And then, as I said, you get to become a Skywalker, a Lightworker, a Rajada, possibly you could say Bodhisattva, depending on how you translate these words. A teacher, bringing the light to others. You could even, if you gain the knowledge, become a guru. They're all very similar things, and it just depends on what you call yourself to how much of the ego you've released and how much of the positive sides of the shadows you take on. But yet some people say, but a full awakening is you leave the world and as Christ did or Buddha did. Well, there are teachings of Buddha as Buddha lay dying on his deathbed. He didn't disappear, he didn't dissolve. They say Christ died and came back to life. Well, that's based on other myths of previous things. And in the Gnostic teachings, it didn't quite happen that way. But you get to become this light with a simple presence. Your simple presence in a room will change everything of everyone around you. Animals will come up to you. Strangers will come up to you. People you know may suddenly just start talking to you, and they don't know why, and telling you things. And you just become one with the Tao, a Tantrika, a beacon of light. And you keep growing, and you keep embodying Shakti. And you keep getting to higher states, to Raya, etc. And you just get to live in a state beyond the entrapments. Yet we always have, especially in today's society, those entrapments knocking at the door. That mobile phone doom scrolling you, calling you, that dopamine. And that can kill the connection to Shakti. Of course, if you haven't cleared the things you are obliged to clear, the warnings you are given in the chakras, and you get stuck with the spiritual ego, or you don't fully embrace things as things are happening, there is the possibility of the dark night of the soul and things like that, and clearing and all the beginning stages, but those happen before Shakti rises. But that is what happens after an awakening, a full awakening. And yes, you can gain what we could call telepathic thoughts, intuitions, and other powers or cities. Now, depending on how you read into those, the fantastical things. But also remember, doing this is a very left-hand path. It's not for the people who want to listen to others, to be controlled by others, who revel in gossip and keeping up with the Joneses. Because you have to let all of that go. And that's why this is left-hand path. It is not for everybody. And there are many people out there, even healers, that cannot let go of duality, that are chased by their demons, their shadow side. And they will not get there because of duality. Because you have to break the bonds of duality. This is the point. This is one of the obligations of the chakras, to break through duality. And so this is not a path, unfortunately, for most people. Not because I say so, not because I don't want them to, because everybody has the capability of doing these things. Of that I'm sure. It's just they're not ready. They're too stuck in their program. And that is okay, because everybody walks their own path. And there are people that gain the insight, and then they are shown everything that is wrong. And now, here you could say, yes, but you criticize a lot of other things that people do on your channel. It's not that I'm really criticizing them. I'm just bringing them to light for the purpose for people on this journey to see that they're there. If there are people stuck in spiritual ego or stuck in polarity and they can't go beyond that point in their journey, that is their journey. That is up to them. I hold no judgment for them. It's simply people need to let go of so much and they're not ready to. And that is fine. And this is why I say, like in the movie The Matrix, if you were offered the red pill, when you watch the movie, everybody says they will take the red pill, but they don't. And just like in the movie, in The Matrix, Neo takes the red pill. He breaks free of the program. Yet where does he go? He lives in a more powerful state. His reality changes, but he's still living amongst everybody. And that is the point. The red pill shows you, awakens you, it enlightens you. But despite the fanciful stories, you still stay here being a beacon of light, being a Skywalker, being a true Tantrika, a Rajada, a guru, whatever it is you wish to become. Becoming that beacon of light for as long as you deem to do so. So do not think that enlightenment means you dissolve into the atmosphere. However, there are many shamans and gurus and yogis and tantrikas that get to a point that they say, enough's enough, and they choose the time of their departing. Get to choose it. That's interesting. That is what happens after a Kundalini awakening. The full embodiment of Shakti, a connection to Shiva. You have the ability, you're given the choice to open, to connect, to be given these other things, these other abilities, and live in a state of energy, enlightenment, to be a light worker, Skywalker. And just live in a state of more or less constant bliss. Now, perhaps when you have to come round to paying your taxes at the end of the year, it might not be quite so blissful, but it won't be so stressful either. To have the connection to those states of beyond anything plant medicine can offer you. To have the ability to take others to those states. If you're interested in learning that, go to theawakenenergy.com, where I offer trainings for you to do exactly that. Because this comes via Shaktipat. This is Shaktipat. Yes, you can do it by yourself. But the fastest way and the safest way, not that what I say, but what is said in the texts, is the safest way to do it. Because you will have a guide to teach you, to show you the way, to point out, I think you're coming from a place of fear. You still need to work on that before the root. Or as the energy is flowing, things come up. And a guide can point these things out to you to keep you safe. Subscribe to the channel and share this with anyone that you think might find this information useful. Because it is a beautiful, glowing place to be when you are there. See you in another video.